Yes, this is finally going to happen. Welcome to the intro to my very first ever vlog show. My name is Kris Soutar, and this is going to be Kris Soutar's Tennis Journal. It is going to be part of a three-pronged attack in the world of communication. Obviously, vlogs is part of it. The other one is a podcast show, which will start in probably about the first week in November. And the third element is going to be blogs, which I've written a few blogs in the past, which are up on my website. But my blogs are now going to take the form of really just sharing my experiences as I travel for my job. So what is my job? Well, I'm a tennis coach, and I have been for the last 26 years, and I've been very lucky in my coaching career that I've worked with a lot of great people that have actually been pretty good at tennis, and I've worked with champions at all levels. Now, the reason I say champions at all level is because I really firmly believe that every level of tennis is equally as important. That gives you a bit of an insight into my outlook or philosophy, because that is slightly different from a lot of my peers that work in maybe performance world, who think that it's more important at the sharp end of the game. I genuinely don't believe that. I used to when I was maybe in my 20s, early 30s. Now I'm 44. I have a better perspective on things, a bigger picture. Maybe it's because I'm the father of two young children now. But I genuinely think that we have to recognize each level of tennis as being equally as important, because they don't exist without each other. So, why have I created this three-pronged attack? Well, first of all, the vlogs will give me a chance to emote what I want to get through to you, because I have traditionally done it through writing, and my mind is very reflective. My approach is quite Socratic in that I tend to ask questions when people ask questions of me, and that can irritate some people. And if you are on my Facebook page, you'll know exactly what I'm speaking about. Even this past weekend, I've wrote something on Twitter and Facebook, and that's been misinterpreted, of course, because people read things and they interpret it through their lens, through their experiences. Hopefully, through this lens, I can actually tell you, and hopefully you can read my body language, hear my expressions, my tones, and understand what it is I'm trying to get across. And then we can have some healthy conversations, whether it be underneath here on YouTube or underneath here on Facebook. That's really important for me, because it's not because I don't dislike, or like I dislike falling out with people. I understand I'm never going to please everyone, but it does irk me when people misinterpret what it is I'm trying to say. So hopefully this will be a better way, a better medium to get that points across. The reason for the podcast show is that I love hearing stories. So the podcast show is going to be guest driven, and you're going to hear some unbelievable stories about where people have come from, what they've achieved, how they've got there, who's helped them, what moments have been kind of pivotal in that journey, because I think we tend to put people that have achieved exceptional things way up on a pedestal, and the disadvantage of that is that sometimes they can look out of reach in terms of, could you achieve these great things as well. And from my experience of working with great people, most of them have come from very normal backgrounds, and they have, in some cases, haven't even chosen to be at that level. They just found themselves there from chance. People helped them, people created opportunities for them, and they just went with it. So I think it's great to hear those stories, because it brings us hope that maybe we could achieve greatness, and it doesn't have to always. Greatness doesn't always have to be at the sharp end. Again, it could be, you could be the best Pied Piper in the world of tennis and have hundreds of thousands of people over your career come into tennis and credit you for being the inspiration for getting into the game. You could be the best competition organizer in the world. You could be the best person at developing under 10 skills. So I'm not talking about everything being at world-class level, but of course the most well-known people tend to work at that level. I will access some of them, but I also like the idea of bringing stories of people that have achieved greatness in their fields, not just from tennis, but other areas. So I've got a great guest list lined up from music, from sciences, from business, from other sports, I think it's really important that we hear stories from other fields and we can take them into the world of tennis and create that inspiration and hope from there. So that is really the reason that I'm creating all of this. Some people will think I'm being, I think it's the word at the moment, narcissistic. Social media seems to be making people narcissistic. I'm not really into that at all. I've made all the mistakes that social media can have or can offer. So I'm doing this genuinely to help, I'll say us, because I say us as in the tennis world. It might be you're watching this and you're not from tennis. I think you could learn things from tennis. We could certainly learn things from the field that you're in. So please, again, get involved in the conversations and see how much we have in common and how much we can help each other, because even people that have polar opposite opinions on things ultimately have way more in common than they have in difference. So I think we need to focus more on the things that we have in common, put aside the differences and crack on and genuinely help each other. So next week I'll talk about my experiences in the coaching world, what I've learned from them, the trends I've seen in the last maybe 5 to 10 years, the learnings I think we could take from that and maybe help us to make tennis industry a little bit, or not the tennis industry, the coaching industry a little bit healthier, because it's a baby. In terms of industry, tennis coaching industry is still a baby. So how can we collectively work together to make it a healthier place, to help the players that we work with and so on. The podcast show is going to be launched probably realistically the first or second week in November. My first guest is I would consider perhaps the best coach in the world, French-Canadian called Louis Caillé, who we are lucky to have working in the UK, and is an amazing man, an amazing coach, and you will hear his story. It's an amazing story. So that's enough from me just now. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave any comments below, share it with anyone you think might be interested in getting involved in the show, and you will see me next week where I'll be talking about the coaching world. Thank you very much for watching, and you take care.